The deafening crash of weights hitting the floor drew everyone's attention as Marcus Kane strutted through Elite Performance Center in his championship gear. The five-time MMA world champion scanned the busy gym with predatory eyes, his entourage flanking him like bodyguards. In the corner, David Miller, a quiet trainer in simple clothes, methodically guided a client through form corrections, his weathered hands and faded military bracelet, the only hints of his 20 years as a Delta Force operator before becoming the gym's most unassuming coach. That's what passes for fitness instruction these days. Marcus sneered, eyes fixed on David, standing there like a robot, giving basic cues. His four teammates, professional fighters with matching team jackets, nodded obediently, creating a protective formation around their leader. The championship belt tattooed across Marcus's forearm rippled as he adjusted his designer watch. In real combat, that kind of stiffness gets you destroyed. At 35, Marcus had built an empire of elite fighting dojos across California. His Instagram bio said it all: undefeated, unstoppable, unchallengeable. 3 international titles and sponsorship deals worth millions had transformed the once hungry fighter into a walking brand, each public appearance calculated to enhance his carefully crafted image. Remember that Russian champion last month? His sparring partner Julian grinned. Talked for weeks about his superior technique. You dismantled him in under 60 seconds. David continued working quietly with his client, a middle-aged woman focusing on rehabilitation exercises. His measured instructions and patient demonstrations reflected years of disciplined training, though nothing in his calm demeanor revealed the nighttime helicopter extractions in Yemen or the silent operations in Syria that had earned him decorations never mentioned in public. "Look at that stance," Marcus muttered, professional assessment mixing with derision. Completely inefficient. No dynamic movement, no power generation. He rolled his shoulders, muscles flexing beneath his compression shirt. All that proper form garbage would get someone killed in an actual fight. Several gym members glanced uncomfortably at Marcus's group, recognizing the unmistakable energy of contained aggression. Among them, former Marine Corps Commander James Wilson paused his morning workout, his weathered face registering concern as he observed the situation developing. "Let me show everyone what real fighting expertise looks like," Marcus announced, approaching David's training area. The older trainer's eyes briefly met Marcus's before returning to his client, finishing her set with the same focused attention. "Sorry to interrupt your little session." Marcus projected his voice for maximum audience effect. "But I think these good people deserve to see the difference between a fitness babysitter and an actual combat professional." The gym had grown quieter now, members slowing their workouts to watch the unexpected confrontation. David quietly finished with his client, thanking her before turning to Marcus with composed professionalism. "Can I help you with something?" David asked, his voice carrying the quiet confidence of someone who'd faced far more intimidating situations than an arrogant fighter in a luxury gym. "Just providing a public service." Marcus circled David, analyzing his posture with theatrical criticism. "See, everyone, what we're looking at here is the fundamental difference between actual combat training and whatever this is." David maintained his position, his calm demeanor a stark contrast to Marcus's performative energy. "This is a training session in a civilian gym," he replied evenly. "Not everything is combat." "That's exactly the problem," Marcus exclaimed. "People paying good money for watered-down instruction when they should be learning real self-protection skills." Marcus began demonstrating rapid-fire combinations, each move stopping just short of David's personal space. "Every movement I execute has purpose, lethal potential. Nothing wasted, nothing for show." He executed a lightning-fast sequence that showcased years of championship training. This is fighting efficiency developed through thousands of hours facing actual opponents. Commander Wilson had moved closer now, his military bearing evident despite his civilian workout clothes. His expression remained neutral, but his eyes never left the increasingly aggressive display. The problem with military-style training, Marcus projected like a seminar leader, is that it's designed for group thinking. Follow orders, maintain formation, sacrifice individuality. He circled David, analyzing his posture with exaggerated scrutiny. MMA is about achieving personal excellence. pushing human capabilities to their absolute limits. Marcus executed a spinning kick that whistled past David's ear, close enough that the trainer would have felt the displacement of air. Several gym members took involuntary steps backward. "Notice he doesn't even flinch," Marcus said with mock admiration. "That's not discipline, folks, that's fear. The fear of engaging, of reacting naturally to threats." He positioned himself directly in front of David, hands on hips. "In my dojos, I teach people to overcome that fear, to react and engage with reality." A woman with her teenage daughter left their workout station, murmuring about disrespect. Several others followed their example, uncomfortable with the escalating tension. "I think we need a practical demonstration," Marcus announced, his voice carrying the practiced authority of a man accustomed to commanding attention in competition rings. "Theory is fine, but nothing teaches like experience." "What exactly are you proposing?" David asked, his voice remaining level despite the provocation. "Simple. A friendly sparring match," Marcus smiled, though his eyes remained cold. "Show these people which approach is more effective, your rigid military training or my dynamic combat system." Commander Wilson moved forward with urgent purpose, but Marcus's training partners created a human barrier, one of them placing a hand on Wilson's chest. "Let the demonstration finish, old-timer," he said conversationally. "Educational purposes." Wilson's eyes narrowed. "That trainer is not what you think he is," he said quietly. "Your friend is making a serious mistake." Marcus had begun a meticulous warm-up routine, stretching his shoulders and neck with practiced efficiency. "The most dangerous delusion in combat sports," he lectured, rotating his wrists, "is believing that tradition equals effectiveness. These military types stand around looking impressive, but they've sacrificed practical skills for rigid protocol." David remained silent, his eyes now studying Marcus with a quiet assessment of someone who had evaluated threats in environments where misjudgment meant death. "For my demonstration," Marcus announced in his ringside announcer voice, "I'll show you exactly why static defense fails against modern combat techniques." He moved into position, his stance shifting into competition-ready posture. In a real combat situation, maintaining situational awareness is critical. Military training makes you vulnerable, not strong. The gym had fallen completely silent, members sensing that a line was about to be crossed. Some backed away while others seemed frozen in place, unable to look away from the impending collision. Marcus launched into a blindingly fast combination, each move flowing into the next with years of practiced precision. The final move was a punishing right hook aimed directly at David's head, a strike that had finished opponents in championship bouts. What happened next occurred so quickly that many observers would later struggle to describe the sequence. David's hand intercepted Marcus's punch with precise economy of movement, his body pivoting slightly to redirect the force rather than oppose it directly. In one fluid motion, he had control of Marcus's wrist, elbow, and balance. The MMA champion found himself suddenly airborne, his momentum completely redirected. He hit the floor with resounding impact that knocked the wind from his lungs. Before he could process what had happened, David had established a controlling position, one knee precisely placed for immobilization without injury. The gym erupted in shocked gasps. Marcus's face registered complete disbelief, his confident expression replaced by wide-eyed confusion. He attempted to counter with championship-winning techniques, but each movement was met with subtle adjustments that rendered his extensive training ineffective. "Stay down." David spoke for the first time since the physical contact, his voice carrying quiet authority rather than anger. "This ends now." Marcus struggled ineffectively. "What the hell? You can't." "Mr. Miller can do considerably more than he's currently demonstrating." Commander Wilson cut him off, stepping forward as Marcus's entourage no longer attempted to block his approach. Before becoming a fitness instructor, he served with Delta Force. 3 combat tours, multiple distinguished service commendations. The gym members had reformed at a safer distance, their expressions a mixture of shock and dawning understanding. Security personnel were approaching rapidly across the floor, their radios crackling with urgent communications. "Delta," one of Marcus's training partners repeated, his previous bravado completely evaporated. "Those guys are not to be messed with." "Quite right." David maintained his position, his breathing controlled, and even despite the brief exertion, the gym's bright lighting revealed a thin scar running along his forearm, a reminder of operations in environments far more dangerous than this climate-controlled fitness center. Every professional trainer here, Wilson continued, addressing not just Marcus but the gathered gym members, is a certified expert in their field. Many, like David, bring experience from careers where the stakes were considerably higher than competition points. He gestured toward David. The discipline you mistook for weakness, Mr. Kane, is the same discipline that kept him and his team alive in situations where your tournament training would prove fatally inadequate. Marcus had stopped struggling, a new awareness dawning in his eyes. You moved like I didn't expect. No, you wouldn't have. Wilson nodded. Competition fighting and combat operations develop entirely different skill sets. Your techniques are impressive in controlled environments with rules and referees. Mr. Miller's are effective in environments where the consequences of failure aren't measured in lost points. The gym security manager had arrived, assessing the situation at a glance. Commander Wilson, sir, we've got this under control. Wilson nodded. I believe Mr. Miller has handled the situation appropriately. Mr. Kane here decided to test the reflexes of our staff in a rather direct fashion. Later that evening, as the gym was closing, David found Marcus sitting alone in the locker room, his championship confidence deflated by the afternoon's humbling experience. Mind if I join you? David asked, his tone professional but not unkind. Marcus gestured to the bench opposite him. That was Delta Force training, wasn't it? He asked, his voice quieter than before, the performative quality gone. I've trained with Special Forces guys from 2 countries. Never seen anything quite like what you did. We adapt techniques to operational requirements. David replied simply, neither confirming nor denying the specifics of his military background. Marcus's laugh held no humor. Operational requirements. Right. He looked up at David. I completely misjudged what I was looking at today. When I saw you working with that client, I saw a target. David finished for him, not a fellow professional. Marcus nodded, genuine regret crossing his face. That's exactly it. In my world, everything's about demonstrating superiority, proving you're the best. I didn't understand what I was actually looking at. Few civilians do, David replied, his voice neutral but not unkind. That's by design. The calmness, Marcus said, looking up again. I thought it was just basic instruction, but it's actually control, David finished. The same control that allows us to maintain focus under pressure allows us to make split-second decisions under fire without panicking. Marcus nodded slowly, processing this revelation. In competition, everything I do is designed to be seen, to impress judges and spectators. What you did, he shook his head. There was nothing showy about it, just effective. Different training for different purposes, David said. My job wasn't to win points or impress audiences. It was to complete objectives and protect lives. As dawn light filtered through the gym's windows the next morning, David resumed his regular training sessions. No trace remaining of the previous day's confrontation. But members who approached now did so with newfound respect, their interactions more genuine. Across the gym, Marcus Kane worked quietly with his team, his approach visibly different, more focused, less performative. When their eyes met briefly across the floor, there was a moment of mutual recognition, an acknowledgement that beneath the surface of appearances lie depths not visible to casual observation. Sometimes the most valuable lessons come through unexpected challenges that reveal the truth behind our assumptions. True strength isn't always found in those who shout the loudest or move the most impressively, but in the quiet, disciplined forge through experiences most of us will never face. What would you do if faced with someone like Marcus? Would you recognize the difference between showmanship and substance? Or would you, like many, mistake quietness or weakness? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you found value in today's story, please hit that like button and share with someone who might need this perspective. Subscribe to our channel for more stories that challenge our assumptions about strength and expertise, and hit that notification bell to join us tomorrow for another powerful real-life lesson.